Hello and good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Hafiz Marzukhi. The government will consider proposals from Reporters Without Borders to improve press freedom in Malaysia. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil says he accepts Malaysia's decline in the World Index, but stressed that the list should not be considered as the gold standard.
Fahmi noted that Israel had ranked higher than Malaysia, standing at 101 in the World Press Freedom Index, despite shutting down Al Jazeera's operations in the country and raiding its office. He defended that the government had not closed any media outlets in Malaysia. However, Fahmi said he would meet with Reporters Without Borders to discuss ways to improve media freedom. Malaysia fell 34 places in the World Press Freedom Index this year, from 73rd to 107th. It was ranked 113th in 2022.
The Attorney General's Chambers, or AGC, will object to MUA MP Ssadiks Syed Abdul Rahman's case against the government for allegedly withholding funds allocated to his constituency. Senior Federal Counsel Ahmad Haneh Hambali confirmed the matter when contacted today.
The former MUDA president and 3 MUA voters had filed the judicial review on April 23rd. They named Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and the government as respondents. The applicants sought to quash a decision that halted the balance of 500,000 ringgit out of 1.7 million ringgit from being channeled directly to the MUA Public Service Centre. They say the funds were meant to cover the cost of welfare programs for their constituents, but were stopped after MUDA withdrew its support from the government. The applicants are also seeking the reinstatement of Syed Ssadiks' access to the MyHas system, which he claims was withdrawn by the government.
A man arrested on suspicion of being involved in the acid attack on national footballer Faizal Hakim has been remanded for 2 days. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razauddin Hussein says the suspect, in his 20s, was arrested in Ampang last night.
Razauddin said the man was traced through the registration number of a motorcycle used in the attack. Faizal, who also plays for Selangor FC, was splashed with acid at a shopping mall in Kota Damansara, Petaling Jaya on Sunday. He is currently receiving treatment at a private hospital after suffering second-degree burns on the left side of his body. The motive behind the attack is still under investigation. Razauddin added that the police had not been able to confirm whether the attack on Faizal was linked to the incident involving another football player, Akia Rashid, who was assaulted and robbed in Kuala Terengganu last Thursday. He also denied that the attacks on Faizal and Akia were related to bookies.
After being awarded for the best utilization of artificial intelligence, or AI, in journalism at the 2024 Digital Media Asia Awards, Astro AWANI continues to lead discussions on technological innovation in the field of journalism. This week, Astro AWANI, in collaboration with the University of Nottingham, Malaysia, or UNM, will be organising a roundtable discussion themed Journalism in the Age of AI Disruption. This is, of course, in partnership with the Centre for Independent Journalism, or CIJ.
The event is scheduled for May 9th, 2024 at the UNM Learning Centre in Kuala Lumpur at 9 a.m. This roundtable discussion aims to provide a platform for journalists, media organisations, academics, civil society and government agencies to discuss the implications of AI on journalism and society. The one-day conference promises a collaborative effort towards responsible understanding of AI's potential in journalism. By bringing together various stakeholders, this event aims to pave the way for a resilient and innovative future of journalism in the age of AI disruption. Astro AWANI's commitment to exploring the intersection of AI and journalism reflects the industry's ongoing efforts to adapt to technological advancements while maintaining ethical standards and quality reporting.
We'll go for a short break. Stay with us.
Siapa Azura?
Perkara silam kembali menghantui.
Aku nak kau buat perempuan tu ingat balik semua benda yang Zarif dah buat kat dia.
Apa yang kau nak tengok? Aku derita, aku susah hati, aku tak bahagia.
Yes.
Betul ke dulu Dian betul-betul bahagia hidup dengan dia? Datin tu suruh Dian buat kerja teruk dulu. Masa tu Dian syarat mengandung juga.
Adakah takdir ini penentu segalanya?
Zarif. Bila kau nak berlakon ni?
Takdir itu milik aku di Astro dan Astro Girl.
5 lelaki penghantar makanan didakwa di Mahkamah Magistrate Bangi atas tuduhan membunuh seorang pemandu kereta lelaki dalam satu kejadian.
4 sungai di sekitar kawasan perindustrian Pasir Gudang di Johor termasuk Sungai Kim Kim didapati tercemar dan berada pada tahap yang membimbangkan. Kerajaan sudah mulakan inisiatif untuk menggantikan kenderaan operasinya kepada kenderaan elektrik EV dalam skala kecil terlebih dahulu.
Welcome back. The government recently announced a pay hike of over 13% for civil servants, the highest in the country's history. How would this impact the group and employment landscape? Benedict Wirasina shares his thoughts.
This will definitely boost morale among civil servants to deliver top-notch services to the people. Also, increases the potential of attracting and retaining better staff in the public service, possibly reducing the turnover to the private sector due to more attractive wages. But that being said, I think we need to know that it's a preliminary announcement made on Labour's Day, and it's only going to be carried out or implemented on 1st of December after budget. The budget is 2025 is in table, I believe. What needs to be done now is that the funding for this hike amounting to about 10 billion ringgit, it really needs to be clarified in an open and transparent manner towards December. Because if this 10 billion ringgit is financed through increased government borrowing or what we call deficit finance, it will definitely lead to greater inflation, resulting in the hike just being a monetary illusion. What it means is that salaries in the government sector has been increased, but it results in a similar or greater rise of the cost of living. So it eventually doesn't amount to much. Basically, your money loses its power, actually. What is worse is that the private sector will be worse off in that case because, rising prices due to inflation, it does not commensurate to the rise in the private sector wages. So that is something that really needs to be talked about nearing December when it's going to be implemented.
Benedict also outlined other measures to explore to improve salary growth in Malaysia.
First thing I think that we need to do, the government really needs to do, is to invest in education and skills training. I think we need to look at it from the long-term perspective. When our labour market can offer the necessary skills that the market demands, employers demand, that's where they can negotiate for higher wages based on their qualifications and their skill sets. Second of all, what we need to do is to uphold and promote innovation and entrepreneurship. When the ecosystem is right for innovation to take place, when the ecosystem is healthy for entrepreneurs to start new businesses, new opportunities, for example, that is where more job creation, especially higher paying job creation with higher paying wages can be created. And that is what we want for Malaysia. Third thing, we need to encourage collective bargaining through unions. We understand that when there is a collective voice among employees, that's where there's a higher likelihood of a wage increase, especially in the sectors with unions present. For example, we see this in QPAX in the public sector, who has been demanding for a pay raise year after year, and finally they see this becoming a reality in December this year. So we know that unions really do play an important role to promote higher wages.
The Israeli military has called on civilians to evacuate the southern Gaza city of Rafah ahead of an expected ground offensive on the city. Around 100,000 people are being directed to 10 cities in nearby Khan Yunis and Al-Mawasi, where the military says aid will be available.
The Israeli Defense Forces had dropped flyers in Rafah urging citizens to move to an expanded humanitarian zone. The flyers also warned against going north of Wadi Gaza or approaching the eastern and southern security fences. Many residents said they had received phone calls to leave their homes in the targeted area, in line with the army's announcement. In recent weeks, Israel has threatened to invade Rafah, where more than 1.4 million people have sought refuge. Israeli strikes in the city reportedly hit 10 homes overnight, killing at least 20 people, while 3 Israeli soldiers were killed in a Hamas rocket attack at the Karim Shalom crossing into Gaza. The Palestinian Health Ministry said more than 34,600 Palestinians had been killed and more than 77,000 wounded in Israel's assault.
Al Jazeera's coverage on Israel and the war in Gaza will not be affected by a shutdown order issued by the government of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The channel's Arabic managing editor Muhammad Muawad told Reuters that they will continue to report both sides, despite the fact that they have lost the coverage from inside Israel.
Al Jazeera urges all media freedom, human rights, and other concerned organizations to condemn and the repeated attacks on journalists and the press by Israel, and to hold those responsible to account. It is for the Israeli government to explain why they took this decision now. For us, we believe this is an attack on press freedom. It is a way of trying to deter Al Jazeera, trying to block our coverage from inside Israel. All the equipments were taken away from one of our live positions. The safety of our journalists is very important. We will continue to abide by the law, and I think in the coming days we will try to pursue all legal paths to counter this. But for now, the coverage will continue, the impartial coverage will continue. We will make sure that we report both sides, despite the fact that we have lost the coverage from inside Israel. We are not able to operate there, but we have other kind of methods to news gathering, and we will continue to be committed to the objective coverage that we have been committed to from the beginning of this war.
The measure issued on Sunday includes closing of Al Jazeera's offices in Israel, confiscating broadcast equipment, cutting off the channel from cable and satellite companies, as well as blocking its websites as long as the war continued. It did not mention Al Jazeera's Gaza operations. After the order was issued, Israeli authorities raided a Jerusalem hotel room used by Al Jazeera as its office. The network last month complained of a series of systematic Israeli attacks to silence Al Jazeera, citing the killing of several of its journalists working in Gaza during the conflict. The UN Human Rights Office also criticized the closure.
The South Korean government says it will order an investigation into HYBE, the label of K-pop boy band BTS, for allegedly manipulating music charts. The Culture, Sports and Tourism Ministry says it received petitions to probe why the label had paid off blackmailers in 2017 after being accused of such practices online.
The ministry said the case would be handed over to the Korea Creative Content Agency, a state-run institution that oversees all forms of popular culture in South Korea. An additional petition has also been sent to the ministry, asking that BTS be stripped of its government-awarded Order of Cultural Merit if the accusations were found to be true. All 7 members of the group are currently serving in the military. HYBE, formerly known as Big Hit Entertainment, was allegedly blackmailed by an individual known as Lee and 3 others for using marketing strategies to promote BTS's 2015 album. Following court proceedings, Lee was sentenced to 1 year in prison, while the other 3 were released with a fine. The court also mentioned that Lee had made a marketing deal with HYBE before using the information to threaten them.
That's all for this edition of AWANI Tonight. I'm Hafiz Marzukhi. Thanks for watching and good night.